You know, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's honestly amazing that the people who are behind games like Dustborn, Concord, and every other DEI nonsensical game that's been released recently, they're the first ones to try to call people who speak out against this nonsense grifters. But the true actual definition and meaning of the word has been defined by these particular people. They are the grifters. They are the actual grifters. This is why they utilize that word, because anytime they utilize a certain buzzword, it's usually to project something that they themselves are doing. Well, apparently, it has just come out, thanks to Grums over on Twitter, that Dustborn didn't just get 150,000 euros, because I thought that was all they got in terms of a grant. But no, apparently, they also got 14 million kroner, or nearly 1.4 million USD for the game as well.
It's gone. It's all gone.
What's all gone?
The money in your account. It didn't do too well. It's gone.
Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, these are the kind of people that will try to convince you that ESG funding is not real, right? They'll try to call you a conspiracy theorist. They'll try to call you whatever they possibly can to try to diminish your argument that they know is true, because their grift relies on it. It is literally a grift for them. They are trying to con people into making more money for themselves. That's what this whole thing is. And if they can steal it from the government, then that just makes them better morally at the end of the day, at least in their mind. So let's get into this video, guys. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push this out into that YouTube algorithm. So Grums made this post on Twitter, and it says Dustborn has used far more government money than has been previously reported. The Norwegian Film Institute funded the game for 14 million kroner, or nearly 1.4 million USD. This is in addition to the 150,000 euros from the Creative EU grant program. Dustborn is basically an Antifa training game. You bash the fash across the divided states of America by using vocal powers to call people racist. The game has 33 players currently on its opening weekend of thread. So if you look at these pictures here, you're going to see the initial one, which we already knew about. The EU grant for 150,000 euros, okay? We knew about this one, but apparently there's more. Obviously, I can't fucking read this shit. It's in a totally different language. But if you look here, it tells you the amount of money in kroner that they actually gave and funded this particular studio with. It is insane how much money that they funded this game with just for it to get a maximum of 80 some odd players on Steam. It's a pathetic title. It's a pathetic number. And we know it's not going to get any better. So it says the company Red Thread Games looks to be funding multiple games through the use of government grants. The games do not make money, as you can see from the Steam charts below for their prior games, Dreamfall Chapters and Draugen. Their existence seems to be dependent on repeated grants, waste of taxpayer money that fund games that fail over and over. So I guess these are games that this particular developer has made. Dreamfall Chapters had a maximum of 1,711 players 8 years ago. 8 years ago. So, of course, there's only 2 people playing it right now, and it's probably one of the developers. And then you also got Draugen with an all-time high of 240 with 0 players playing right now. Literally nobody. It is a completely dead game. Then it says the company seems to be grifting off of EU taxpayer money, which are awarded in part on ESG criteria. Remember when people denied ESG grants for indies existed and called everyone a conspiracy theorist? Yeah, well, we know that's bullshit. Listen, anytime they call you a conspiracy theorist, just know in about 6 months, you're going to be proven right. That's usually what, you know, when they call someone a conspiracy theorist, that's usually what ends up happening. 6 months, and then you're going to find out, oh, wow, they were actually correct about it. They weren't theorists at all. Goes to show. The Norwegian Film Institute focuses on productions where the percentage of women in key roles is a factor. Their latest project, Svalbard, has received nearly 11 million kroner so far, which is $1 million USD and 150,000 euro more from the EU Creative Program. If you look at this picture here, it says 32 applications were received for the year's third and final award round, where 7 games received a total of Norwegian krone of 9.5 million in development grants from the Norwegian Film Institute. The grants were given in the decision-making meeting this week. 5 of the games are completely new projects. In this grant round, the proportion of women in key roles, producer, art lead, and game designer is 38%. It is pleasing to see that a proportion of women in Norwegian games is on the rise. We also see this as an application pile in general, says Kaja Henge-Darley, section lead for computer games at NFI. So again, it's all ESG DEI related nonsense. They only care about whether or not it's female-led, female ran, at least close to the majority of numbers anyway. That's their main thing. That's their main, I guess, whatever criteria for trying to get these loans, right? Or grants in this certain scenario. It is fucking pathetic. They have funded every single one of this particular developer's failures, and they're continuing to do so with Dustborn. It's only going to get worse. This is why they never learn, right? This is why when we talk about these developers, we know that they're not using their own money. They're using ESG funds. They're using government grants. It's the same thing as diversity consultancy firms, especially in Canada. In Canada, basically all of these consultancy firms are funded by the government to some extent. So they're just going to keep taking that money. Why not? It's easy. The government is giving money away to people just for being superficially diverse. They don't care what happens to it. Once they give it to you, that's it. It's gone. It's going to be burned away, and it's going to be going into the pockets of the executives, usually, not really the developers, the executives at that particular studio. So again, it's not shocking information to me to see that they got even more funding for this game, knowing that this is just a thing. It's been like this for a while now. We've been reporting on this for how long? The rest of the funding is likely through their publisher, Quantic Dream, via their Spotlight publishing program. Quantic Dream provides Red Thread Games with additional support, including narrative work, motion capture, photogrammetry, and sound design, localization, and more. This is likely provide for free in addition to whatever funding Quantic Dreams invests in Dustborn. In this way, Red Thread Games can continue to grift up taxpayer money and produce games while reducing many costs. Quantic Dreams was acquired by NetEase in 2022. Again, this game is a literal antithesis of what it means to be an Antifa simulator. That's all it is. It's a game made to create more division, more hate, and they try to pass it off and virtue signal and say it's the most amazing thing since sliced bread, and they try to call you the one that's trying to make hate happen. But that's not how it goes. These people are absolutely the ones that are pushing hate in a game like this, and when they get called out on it, they try to play victim. It is curious why Red Thread Games continues to produce games, given that none of them have garnered enough users to pay for their production. It is also concerning that Dustborn has been crafted as a political agitprop tool backed by taxpayers who do not want this kind of disruption to their cultures or society. But it is clear that Red Thread Games does not care or depend on gamer sales for their continued existence or ability to produce political propaganda games. Now, that last statement right there is exactly the truth. They don't need gamers to keep their existence. So long as they stay indie and try to minimize costs as much as possible, yeah, all it takes is a couple of million in funding and they're good. They're fine. They don't got to make a single sale. They made all the money they're going to ever need to recoup the cost. That's just what it fucking is. They don't got to pay these back, so they don't care. They don't care. They're going to keep making the money that they're making from the government. They don't actually care to make a video game that gamers are going to want to buy because they're not reliant on gamers in order to be financially sustainable. So they're going to put out nonsense like this, and they're making games for the modern audience, which is essentially making games for themselves. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.